Thank you for joining us for the Barbados Today evening news for Wednesday, December 13. I am Mary Claire Williams. Local tourism officials are upbeat following a 6% increase in long-stay visitors between January and October this year. CEO of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Rudy Grant, delivered the administrative report at the association's fourth quarterly meeting this morning. He said the increase is an indication of the work of industry players.
The major growth was in the USA market, 14.2%. Canada was 9.8%. And we saw the United Kingdom somewhat flat, a growth of 0.7%. Trinidad and Tobago growing by 7.3%, and other Caribbean growing by 4.9%. The STR report, which members of BHTA provide information to, informs that for the period January to October 2017, there was growth in occupancy of 1.7%, while the average daily rate remained somewhat flat. That growth was 0.9%. We are expecting that for the winter of 2017 that we will see a slight growth in occupancy for our members.
For the cruise industry, Grant reported an 18.2% increase in passengers and a 19% increase in cruise calls.
The overall growth in cruise passengers is expected to continue throughout the winter period, as you know, which is our busiest period. And the home porting program and the cruise and stay has certainly been providing positive benefits for our members. As you are well aware, in order to be able to expand our visitor arrival numbers, it is important that we have good air transportation. And this year, the JetBlue service out of Boston, that service will start on December 17th, and that will operate throughout the winter season. We also have the Virgin Atlantic, which is operating on Tuesdays and Saturdays out of Heathrow. And in fact, I believe the first flight should have arrived yesterday.
In other news this evening, the leadership of the police force is appealing to motorists to drive with more care during the festive season. The appeal comes from Acting Assistant Commissioner in charge of operations, William Yearwood, against the backdrop of 27 road deaths so far this year. That's 3 times the number for the same period last year. Yearwood told a press briefing yesterday that while police patrols and traffic wardens will monitor the motorists, drivers must take extra precaution to prevent any further carnage.
We know that accidents can be caused by inattentiveness, being preoccupied, multi-skilling, and so on. To those who are going partying, we want to remind them that one should not drink and drive, and that they should have a designated driver. I also encourage them to choose roads carefully so that they can avoid dangers or attacks while moving around.
Police are also warning Barbadians to guard against burglaries, especially during this period. Crime Prevention Officer, Acting Inspector Stephen Griffith, says too many householders are still too lax in their security.
And by lax security, I'm speaking to the fact that people are still leaving facilitators on the outside of their homes. And when I say facilitators, I mean ladders, barrels, tools, garden tools. All these things are being left in garages on the outside. Now, if you leave these things out there, you're going to find that those persons intent on criminal behavior will use them to gain entry into your homes. So we're asking persons to put these things away carefully and ensure that the area you put them in is an area that can be locked. Another thing that we find is that some people, because of the extended shopping hours, and we've seen this over time, people come home at night from shopping. But when they get to their doors, they're searching in the bottom of their bags for keys, which means that you're outside of the house for an extended period of time where you search 1 or 2 or maybe 3 bags because you don't know exactly where those keys have been placed. And in addition to that, you did not leave any lighting on the outside of the house, which means that you're also in the dark. It means that you cannot see what is happening around you. So we urge you that if you know that you're going to return home late at night, please lock all doors, please turn on the lights and ensure that everything around your house is okay.
On to news from the courts now. St. Thomas resident Leon Da Costa Hoyt has been remanded to prison after appearing in court this morning on gun-related charges. Members of the anti-gun unit executed a warrant at Hoyt's residence yesterday when they discovered the firearms and ammunition. He was arrested and charged with unlawful possession of a firearm and unlawful possession of 7 rounds of ammunition. Hoyt, also known as Leon Da Costa Seeley, appeared before Magistrate Ian Weeks in the District D Magistrates Court today and was remanded until January 10th.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. The former Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Sir Lester Bird, has announced his retirement from active politics. Sir Lester led the country from 1994 to 2004 and succeeded his father, Sir Vere Bird. He told Parliament that while he still has much to contribute, age has taken its toll on his physical capacity. Over in Guyana, opposition MP Juan Egil has been suspended from the National Assembly for the next 4 sittings. Earlier this week, he refused to leave the chamber on the Speaker's orders, prompting a suspension of the sitting. We get the details from HGP Nightly News.
The Speaker made the announcement after Social Protection Minister Amna Ali moved a motion calling for Egil to be sanctioned for the grandstanding in the House Monday afternoon. The opposition PPP opposed to the move, and the House was thrown into momentary turmoil when opposition leader Barra Jagdeo took the floor.
Nature of the behavior but you did not speak about the unprecedented presence of police in this house. The police in this house has assaulted people that you yourself in an interview said that you were not invited to this house. How did they get into the house?
Jagdeo told the Speaker that his party is being treated unfairly in the Parliament.
This is an attempt to muzzle the Juan Egil because of...
But although Mr. Jagdeo was very aggressive in his presentation, he did not make the same mistake as Juan Egil, who refused to sit down when the Speaker asked him to.
I'll remember you. The nature of the...
will take your seat.
When the Speaker informed the opposition that the remainder of yesterday's proceedings would go directly to votes without opposition querying, the opposition furiously vacated the chamber.
Capital expenditure 055, citizenship and immigration services.
And further afield, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas told Muslim leaders today that a U.S. decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital is a crime. And he says it shows that Washington should no longer play a role in Middle East peace talks. We get more in this Reuters report.
The U.S. should no longer play a role in Middle East peace talks. That's the message from Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas addressing Muslim leaders at an emergency meeting in Istanbul, saying President Trump's decision to officially recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital was a crime and that he was giving away the city like it belonged to the states. Wednesday's summit was hosted by the Turkish president, who's called the Arab response to the move so far weak. Israel captured Arab East Jerusalem in 1967 and later annexed it, an action not recognized internationally. Turkey is urging Muslim nations to pressure the world to recognize East Jerusalem as the capital of a Palestinian state. Erdogan telling leaders Trump's decision was a reward for Israeli actions, including occupation, settlement construction and land seizure.
Palestine's incorporation process to international accords and institutions should be accelerated. As Islam countries, we have to put forward a more strong command and a stronger will regarding full incorporation of the Palestinian state in the diplomatic area.
But despite the tough talk, countries such as Egypt and Saudi Arabia only sent ministers, and the old Sunni-Shia tension hangs over the conference. The summit is issuing a strong rejection of the US decision, but little else on how to move peace talks forward.
That's news this evening. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Have a good evening.